Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with the patch 3.4c review. Now this is one of the smallest patches we've got like in recent memory. As you guys can see, there's only like 4 champion changes and just a couple of other changes on top of that. Of course, patch 3.5 is coming and the preview video will be out for that tomorrow, of course released by the Wild Rift team themselves. So I'm really looking forward to that, but we already have a lot of leaks. This video, of course, is not to discuss that, so we're just going to jump into patch 3.4c itself. Now, I'll also be releasing the tier list for patch 3.4c either tomorrow or the next day. So yeah, so let's quickly just take a look at what's going on. So first up, we have the new champion Warwick. Now, I'm really excited for him because, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I was a Warwick main on LoL PC for over a year. And I pretty much was a one-trick of Warwick, because I was still learning the game, of course, and Warwick is a really easy champion to play. Now, I think in Wild Rift, he's probably going to be alright. Now, of course, we know like most champions on release are relatively strong, so that he's probably going to be the same. But when he goes down to like the normal levels that he should be, I don't think he's going to be the best at higher levels of play because he's very single target, so it's kind of a challenge at higher levels. But anyways, I'm still really excited for him to come out because he was my first ever main, and you know, I'm gonna enjoy playing him when he comes out. So anyways, now we're gonna talk about the 4 champion changes. So first up, we got Akali, who apparently they're giving a buff, even though I think it's one of the best champions in the game right now. So they're giving her 1 extra base health regen and a little bit like 0.12 health regen per level. Now, honestly, I feel like these changes are negligible. Like, you're barely gonna feel this base health regen. It's just 1 extra health at base level, the regen of that health, just 1 extra tick per tick at base level, and 0.12 means like you to even get 1 extra health, you need to go like almost 10 levels. Like to get the extra like 1 health. So honestly, I think these changes are completely negligible, so I don't really think they matter at all. Now, what does matter though is Echo. Echo, again, his jungle clear is getting hit, so the time winder, which is Q, damage to monsters now going from 120% to 100%. So again, they're trying to nerf Echo out of the jungle. They want him to be in the mid lane. So honestly, his clear has been getting worse and worse, so I can completely see Echo getting kicked out of the jungle sooner or later. And I'm not too sure how bad this will affect his clear, but either way, Echo is a really strong late game champion. So even if you play him in the jungle, like how people play like Jax in the jungle still, even though your early clear is bad, in the end you'll reach a stage where you're really strong. In compensation though, they're giving him a 50 damage buff on his ulti at every single rank. This is of course going to make him even stronger in the late game especially, and just throughout the game extra damage doesn't hurt. So I think overall, I wouldn't say overall this is a buff, because if you play jungle Echo it's a nerf, but for mid lane Echo it's yet another buff. So Malphite getting some adjustments. First up, his Granite Shield cooldown, that's his passive. For his shield to come up, it's going down from 8 seconds at all ranks to 876, so at higher levels the shield is going to come up more often. However, instead of getting 10% of your max health, it's now 9% of your max health. Now basically, of course, with this change, getting your shield up more often but getting a little bit less shield is going to be more beneficial at the later ranks, but at the earlier ranks is of course a little bit worse. So his laning phase, you have a little bit less shield, it's just 1%, and 1% doesn't account for a lot in the laning phases. You don't have a lot of health yet. In the late game, that 1% is going to count for more because you have more health. However, it is compensated by the fact that you will get your shield up more often. So I think overall it kind of balances out. It's relatively going to be similar. And I think it's supposed to be a slight buff. So it's supposed to be a slight buff, yeah. But I think it's going to be relatively similar. And the Seismic Shard, which is his Q, the not movement speed, the projectile speed is going up from 10 to 12. So it's going to travel a little bit faster to hit the enemies with your Q. That is of course going to be a bit going to be just, you know, good quality of life change in general. Now it's not like his Q could really be dodged anyway. I guess just hitting it faster is going to help you, you know, get that movement speed still and maybe run in for an ult. So it is going to help you just that little bit. Now Yuumi of course is still underperforming. Ever since they did that mini rework, she pretty much has been dead. So they're giving her an extra 5 heal on her E at every rank. Now, I don't see how 5 heal is really going to change anything. They didn't change the AP ratio either. So again, this one I feel like is a buff that is pretty much negligible. So pretty much, in my opinion, the only people who got changed is actually Echo and Malphite. I think the Akali and Yumi changes are pretty negligible, like doesn't really do anything. So items. Runan's Hurricane is actually getting a buff. So the Wind's Fury bolts attack damage ratio, that is the split thing that you get when you're attacking your main target and you're attacking like two other targets with Runan's Hurricane, is going from 40% to 55%. So basically your two secondary targets are going to be taking a little bit more damage. Now the reason for this is that Runan's Hurricane is not being built by people who should build them. Now who are champions who should build them? People like Jinx and Kai'Sa actually love building Runan's Hurricane, but Jinx now currently likes to go for Rapid Fire Cannon instead. And Kai'Sa likes to go for her new like hybrid build where she doesn't even build Runan's Hurricane at all. So pretty much almost no one is building Runan's Hurricane at the moment. So they're giving it a buff to try to make it a more attractive item option, which I think is going to help a lot. Alright, next up we got the Quicksilver Enchant. So instead of getting only half a second of crowd control immunity, you're going to get 0.75 seconds of crowd control immunity instead. Now this is actually a really huge buff because anything to do with CC or CC immunity, every like 0.1 or 0.25 seconds is gonna count. So this is gonna make you Quicksilver a lot more better, and you're gonna get just the extra 0.25 seconds of immunity, which sounds like it's nothing, but it actually is a lot when you're talking about CC. So huge buff to Quicksilver Enchant. Now, turret continuous fall protection. What this is basically is when you kill two turrets in the same lane. For example, if you just won a late game team fight, you take down the mid lane first turret, you take down the mid lane second turret, and you're now on the inhibitor. The inhibitor actually has 30% damage reduction, in case you guys didn't know, for the next 30 seconds. Now they're changing that to cut it in half to 15% instead. So now, basically it's going to be a little bit easier to take down the towers, essentially. So they pretty much want to just see, because they think it's artificially prolonging the game, so they want to see, how this really affects things and if this actually really matters, because it isn't really very often anyways that you actually take down like two turrets and then go on to a third. As I said, it only normally happens in late game team fights, like at 20 minutes, 15 plus minutes at the minimum. If not, generally you're not gonna have enough time to take down two towers and move on to the third anyways. So it's only really going to matter in the late game. This probably won't affect too many games, but in those that it does, the third tower is going to be easier to take down. So that could, change the outcome of the game. Like taking down an inhibitor and not taking down an inhibitor is a huge difference. So we have to see how that changes things. Warwick is releasing with the Old God Warwick skin, and that is pretty much it. As I said, it's a really, really small patch. So anyways, with all that out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.